Howdy all, Nurse Dude here, and as promised earlier on, we're going to go over a little bit of the helmet setup. Now, um, we'll go from the front to the rear, kind of talk about what I have and kind of why I have it. First of all, the night vision I use is a Elbit thin film Gen 3 white phosphorus. It does what it's supposed to do. I lucked out and got a pretty good tube with just the tiniest bit of peppering on it, so in all realities it's a pretty squeaky tube, so I'm very happy of what I got with it. As mentioned before, I use a noise fighter's arm with my mount being, or arm excuse me, being the, I think it's the Mod Armory dovetail adapter for the Rhino 2s. I like the Rhino 2s because they kind of fit with my head shape a little bit better. Titanium because titanium. I know the aluminum ones are slightly lighter, but this aluminum one is just like pristine, so I couldn't complain too much about it. So there's those guys as far as the front end's concerned. And then I have a Naruto Shroud. I like these because they have the plastic bumpers or rubber bumpers, so you get a really nice tight fit with your arm for the Shroud. And then for my retention that we kind of talked about earlier, I have actually a homemade version. It's turned out to be fantastic. I really like the way that I designed it, and it's turned out, cheap and easy and effective. So that's always a plus. Velcro spots on the sides for any PID that you want to do. I have a nice new fancy glow-in-the-dark patch, and I got a Shaka there because why not? On my TNVC Mohawk, which has turned out to be a fantastic piece of kit, I have it not only Velcroed on, but also under the ear pro here. You can see I have it shock corded into the actual arms. For things like this, I kind of want to keep secure. The lanyard retention, I want to be able to take it kind of on and off if I have to, so that's a little bit of a mixed bag. Underneath, like we talked about before, I have my Unity mount adapter hex key, so that way for my ear pro in case I ever need to tighten it. I've not experienced any loosening of this. It has the same type of thread locker as Magpul does on all other stuff, so I'm relatively confident. I think I will probably put a little baggie with the set screws in it somewhere in the pack, so that way I have a couple extra. Moving along, I have also my homemade battery keepers in here, tied down of course, because that's something that you might lose. I carry four CR123s because all my lights and my laser module use that, and then I carry two on my helmet for that matter, two PVS-14 batteries, which are AA's because they last a really, really long time. And I have that dummy corded directly to the Mohawk itself, so it's not going to go anywhere. The Swordens that I have are ancient. They're probably circa like 2010 or 12. They're very old. I think I'm probably the third owner. One of my very good friends who is SF traded me them, kind of a if you can have them, if you can fix them deal, and I was able to fix them, so that was very nice of him. These things are fantastic. I personally ever really use just earplugs, and these are way better than earplugs as far as anything's concerned. I wasn't really that big of a cool kid in the Army, so I never got really into the cool high-speed stuff. This is really awesome. I like them even though they're old. I've been told that the Swordens, even the older ones, are still better than the Peltors. I don't know. They work really nice. The gel cups are fantastic. They're very comfortable. I have my Peltor adapter arms on it, and then obviously arc rails. And then the inside that we talked about before, I have an Ops Core dial liner. I think it's the Lux dial liner for an ACH, which brings me to the helmet itself. It is a ACH that I actually won many years ago on a military arms Facebook channel competition. This is not, unfortunately, the one that I had in the Army. I think the one I had in the Army was a medium. Now this one's a large. This is really nice because they are proven helmets and they are effective. Yes, I got it chopped. I know there's a lot of gripes about getting stuff chopped because you're potentially affecting the overall structure of the helmet. You're disrupting the fiber. Well, if you've ever seen these made, they quite literally just stick them in a mold when everything was all wet. They put it in the negative, they put it in the negative, and they put in a positive in the inside, and then they heat cure them, and then they take a reciprocating saw, and then they cut off all the excess, they slap sealant on it, and then they put a lipping mold around it. So yeah, I'm going to probably guess if you seal this correctly, which I trust the gentleman that did this pretty well. He's had some really good reviews, and the workmanship on this was fantastic. If you seal this, you're probably fine. So, because in all realities, it's just a bunch of epoxy and a bunch of Kevlar molded together. So if you've ever done any epoxy work, you know you need to seal it regardless with fiberglass. So I'm going to go with it. In all realities, I'll probably never have to use the helmet for its intended purpose, but I do like having it. With that being said, would I prefer a bump? Oh, yes, I would, because my neck is all jacked up, and so having a lighter weight setup would always be welcome, but I haven't really gotten to that point of wanting it yet, so I just kind of deal with it. Unfortunately, I know it's probably not the healthiest thing to do, but I just deal with it and I go forward. So that's the helmet setup. It's very comfortable. My only slight complaint about it is just due to my funky head shape. My PVS 14, when I mount it, is very, very close to the rim here, and that's why I have this little bit of Velcro there, so that way it doesn't rub and make a noise if I have to when I move, so that way it deadens it a little bit. Again, that's your mileage may vary on your genetics, but overall, I like the ACHs. I think they're an older but proven helmet, and you can get them relatively inexpensive. And if you look for your stuff used, like I found this Mohawk used, it was brand freaking new. I got these on a trade. I got these on a sale. I made this myself. This is like $20 on eBay. So if you do your homework and start searching for the right places, you can find stuff for relatively inexpensive and it not be heavily used, and you can make up your own setup. Out of pocket overall, granted I won the helmet, so let's say that I did not win the helmet and I had to buy it, this is probably sub $500 because I traded things, I bought things used, and so there you go. There's no shame in buying used stuff. I do it for the crawlers and the off-road stuff all the time. I love bro trucks because they sell their stuff so cheap to get the new fancy things. So there you go. Hope you guys like it, and I'll talk to you later.